So the first step in order to become a better team worker is to understand when not to teamwork. This is the biggest cheat code out there, and this is something that you're probably finding to be a little counterintuitive. This guy is telling me that the class is on the value of teamworking, and suddenly he's telling me that I have to know when not to teamwork. It sounds like an oxymoron. No, it's actually highly practical. Because if you're one of those individuals that are always trying to collaborate with others, then there's that level of desperate attitude that you give towards others. But if you understand, no, this is a project that I can do by myself, or how about I just ask the question, is this a project that requires teamworking? This simple question allows you to open the paradigm of, no, I can actually do this by myself, or I can acquire the skills in order to do this so I could benefit myself into the future. Nowadays, when you are actually teamworking, there's this level of composure that you have because you realize that you do need them. It's not just a waste of time. Have you ever had one of those moments where there's these meetings that you're entering and the person who held the meeting is just hosting it for the sake of hosting it? So what happens? There's a bunch of people that are just being forced to talk. And as they're being forced to talk, there's a lot of clutter that's forcefully being created. The meeting was supposed to add clarity, but unfortunately, it's taking away clarity because the meeting person never asked the question, is this meeting mandatory? So one of the main takeaways you want to get out of this video is to understand that there are a lot of projects that are best done solo. And if you cannot do it solo, that is when you want to add in teamworking. So you've identified the correct roles for the people. You're taking some time to keep on repeating the shared mission from multiple different angles. Now it comes down to deadlines and communication. You, as the headmaster, you have to take some time to create the right deadlines. And we're not taking this top-down approach. Instead, it's a collaborative effort. Hey, Susie, when can you have the PowerPoint done by? Great. Hey, Peter, when can you have the mock presentation done by? Okay, great. And let me know if anything needs to change. By the way, things are going to need to change a lot. That's just how it works. In terms of teamworking, you as a leader, you need to take some time to understand that people will often tell you one thing, but human nature creeps in. Laziness creeps in. Every now and then, the personal problems kick in, and you need to assume that things can always go wrong. And this is why you're going to create, hopefully, a shared group a communication system, which is another fancy phrase for a WhatsApp, a Telegram, or a GroupMe, where you guys can constantly communicate. The more that you guys have this central base when you can communicate, the more that you are always updated, and hopefully you're still repeating the mission over and over and giving these people hope that says, look, we're almost at the deadline. Keep on going, guys. We're doing great. So from this video, I want you to understand that deadlines are very important. Get that from the different people that you're working with. And then I want you to assume that human nature will creep in. Every now and then the deadlines may or may not be met. So to alleviate this problem, create a central database where you guys can communicate with ease. So a bonus tip is to visualize your goals. See, there was this one year when I was in the final year of electrical engineering, and I was doing a thing called the senior design project. I was working with two Justins and a guy named Greg, and we all had different personalities. They were family men. They were much older than I was. I would say 21 or 22. They were in their 30s and 40s. So the senior design project was a priority in terms of school, but they had other priorities as well, and we were very disorganized. One day, I go to my senior project advisor, Dr. Takshi. I was like, it seems like we all have different agendas. What can we do in order to unite us? And that's when he recommended that I do a thing called the Gantt chart. So I Googled it, and this is a chart where you get to visualize the goals, and you can see exactly what someone is responsible for. There's different colors. You can use bars and everything, and it allows for a lot of flexibility. So I studied as much as I could about the Gantt chart. Then I went to my project team, and I was like, hey guys, I think we should try out this Gantt chart, which we did. And once we did this Gantt chart, what happened was all four of us were now seeing the same exact thing. Because a lot of times when we're working in a team, we're saying a lot of the same things, but within our mind, we're seeing something different. But in this case, we were all seeing the same exact Gantt chart, and we wanted to make sure that we were moving along smoothly. And suddenly, this project became a centerpiece in all of our lives. So this was during undergrad. Later on, when I started my career, there was this one time I went to New Jersey, and I was in training. And as I was in training, I had a little remix to the senior design project. In this one, we had a training project where everyone in the classroom, we got organized into groups of 4, and then we had a project that we had to work on. And this time, we were introduced to a thing called the Scrum board, right? And this is a board where we would create our goal, we would create a bunch of deadlines, and then we would have a bunch of sticky notes with to-do items. And as we were getting the sticky notes, once again, we were seeing the goal, the project, everything. And once again, what happened was we were all seeing stuff in our minds individually, but this Scrum board united us. There was that level of feeling, that level of camaraderie as we got a sticky note and took it to the next side of the deadline, indicating that we're progressing forward. And there was this shared feeling once we would rip apart certain sticky notes. We'd be like, this is no longer needed for the project. So the main takeaway from both of these scenarios was that it's very important to see the goal because in our subjective reality, we're all seeing different things. But when we have, let's say, something like a Gantt chart or a Scrum board, now the different members of the team are all seeing the same exact thing. And the more that they see it, the more they feel united with one another.